What's up? How's everybody doing this evening? I'm looking forward to this evening. It is going to be a really great show. Got a lot of things to talk about. Spawn is wide open right now. Everybody who has ever picked up a crappie pole in their life is on the lake at this point. Let's see who we got with us before I start running my mouth. Let's see. We got Blake. How's it going, Blake? We're going to talk about, we got something new coming. Mr. Blake has got, him and I have got something to talk about this evening, something new going on. Let's see. We got Larry Merrick. How's it going, Larry? Crickwater Crappie Company. How's it going? Good to see you tonight. Mr. Phil Pickett, how's it going? Travis, how's it going, buddy? Travis, I think you sent me a message. I apologize. I hadn't read it yet. I saw it come through, but I hadn't read it yet. So I don't know. Do you want me to read it or do you want to just ask me tonight? Anyway, I'll try to look at it. Major Brown, how's it going? Mike Willard, how's it going? John R. RPB, hello again. And Grant Bailey. It's going well. It's going well. So, Eddie Gregg, hello. So I'm glad you guys could join me this evening. Let's start out with the news. Mr. Blake Houck and myself and Gunny's in Maryville. So if you live near Maryville, you've probably heard of Gunny's Firearms. They are a firearms store as of, well, right now. But here in the next just probably week, they are transitioning into a firearm store with a crappie cove. So Gunny's is going to have a crappie cove, and it's going to have all of your best baits, guys, for this area especially. Mr. Blake and myself are talking daily, and he is putting baits in the store that catch fish. And I know they catch fish because I use them. And I am actually kind of helping him with color selection and bait selection and rod selection, and you'll be able to go there and get everything that is good for our area. So guys, if you're near Gunny's in Maryville, stop in, say hello, get familiar with the place. We're actually going to do a video at Gunny's once they get the crappie cove set up, and I'm going to show all you guys how great that looks and all the baits that are in there. And so, like I said, if you're in Maryville, then go by there, check them out. Not to mention, you can go by there and get you can get all your crappie stuff to go to the lake for the weekend, but you can also take your pistol over there and shoot. They have an indoor range. So, 2-for-1 special, guys. You can go waste some rounds and pick up your crappie baits at the same time. So, good things, all good things. Let's see, we got some more guys on. We got John Buck Chaser. How's it going, guys? John Bain. Catfish in Tennessee. Hello. So let's talk a little bit about my video this past week. I was on Loudon. Russell, how's it going? I was on Loudon this last week, and I was trying to fish stake beds. There are a lot of stake beds. I don't know who's putting stake beds out in Loudon, but they're doing a good job because there's a bunch of them on Loudon. And I had a good day. I had a really good day fishing. I had a really crappy day with my boat. So for those of you that haven't heard about it, because I'm harping and have been harping all week because I'm just ready to kill myself. I'm a Ranger boat guy. I love my Ranger boat. I got a 690 VS. It's a 96 model. Love it to death. The layout's perfect for me. I love it. And it is my baby, that's for sure. It's one of my children. Well, I broke one of my children. So I broke the boat. And William, hello, sir. Mike Davis from Texas, hello. So I broke my boat. Not to the point where I can't fish out of it, but it's got let's say I knocked a tooth out of it. Let's say that. Actually, I'll show you a picture. So let me kind of give you a little bit of prelude to what happened. I run a Tarova trolling motor. And for those that have a Terova, on the foot pedal, you've got your foot pedal, and right down here on the corner that sticks out this way about 2 inches is a continuous button. I was on the deck, I was fiddling around, my foot somehow hit the continuous button. I was fishing around some docks and things, just, kind of piddling at that point. It was right before lunch. And I was trying to, get ready to eat lunch. I was in my cooler. So I turned around, I walked to the back of the boat, and I was in my little cooler to get my lunch out. And I didn't realize, because my trolling motor was on 2 or 3, I didn't realize my trolling motor was moving the boat. So by the time I got my lunch out and got ready to sit down to eat and realized the boat was moving, I look up and there's a concrete walkway that's like 5 feet from the front of the boat. And I panicked. I ran up to the front of the boat, and I jumped out of the front of the boat onto the concrete, tried to catch the boat. By that time, it's already crunched, and I'm thinking, oh, shit. So yeah, I broke my boat, and I got a big hole in the front of it. I'll show it to you guys. 2 big old holes in the front of the boat. It's ugly. I know. So if any of you guys do fiberglass work, hit me up, because I got a hole in my boat. It's above the water line. It's purely cosmetic. It's not going to hurt my boat or the way it fishes at all. But it was, talking about it, I just get aggravated at this point. So Travis said those are scratches. Yeah, they are. But they're deeper than they look. One of them's all the way down into the fiberglass. So I'm gonna have to do something so the water doesn't get in there. I honestly considered silver silicone at this point. But anyway, yeah, Grant said Marine Tex. Yeah, I could use Marine Tex. Major said. Grant said love taps. Yeah, well, I don't want any more love taps, Grant. Yeah, that it hurt me. It hurt my soul. I felt it when I heard that concrete crunch, that fiberglass. My legs about buckled out from under me. It was just miserable. I actually called my wife, and she answered the phone, and I just shook my head. I was on FaceTime with my wife, and I just shook my head like this. And she said, "What happened? Are you okay?" And I said, "No, I'm not. I'm upset. When I get home, I don't want to talk about it." She's like, "What happened?" And I told her, and she's like, "Yeah, I'm not talking to you the rest of the day." I was like, "Oh, well, yeah, I feel pretty stupid." So anyway, that was my trip to Loudon. Man, there was a lot of stuff floating in Loudon too. There was a ton of stuff floating. Hello, Tim. How's it going? Ton of stuff floating in Loudon. I've never seen so much stuff floating in that lake. It was unbelievable. I had to idle in the main channel for about a mile because there's trash on either side. I'm talking logs. I'm not talking about sticks. I'm talking logs just on either side of the channel for a mile. It's kind of in an S curve. It's down below Concord, in between Concord and Ish Creek is where it was at. And it was bad. And there were still people in bayliners, big old boats, just I thought, good night. And brass props on those boats are expensive. But they were getting it. They weren't slowing down. Larry said he went out last Sunday and nearly got swamped from all the other boat traffic. Yeah. Yeah, me too. There was one time, Larry, where I did get on plane finally, and I was running at about 32, and it got so bad that I had a wave literally come. I say wave. It was just the splash from the wave that come completely over the front of the boat and just. I was like, okay, we're in the Red Sea. That's okay. So yeah, it was rough. There was a ton of boat traffic out there. I fished Saturday, so I was out Saturday. Met a few good people out there Saturday. Buck, and you guys probably saw him on the video. Buck stopped and said hello. And then I met a really well-rounded young man at the boat ramp who, for sake of not saying his name, he was probably 9 years old, and his dad knew who I was, and he said hello, and I said hello back, and I kind of looked at him. I said, "Hey, buddy, how's it going? You like to fish?" And he shook his head, yes. And I said, "You want some baits?" I said, "I'll give you some baits." And he just kind of put his head down, shook his head no, and you can tell he was kind of timid about it. And I said, "Hey," I said, "I'm gonna give them to you for free, man. You don't have to pay me for them. Come on, get over here. I'll give you some baits." I said, "You like bonehead baits?" And he shook his head. I said, "Come here." And I gave him a couple packs of baits, and he was ecstatic. I mean, it was really cool. That's what I'm there for. I absolutely love seeing kids fishing, and anytime I see them on the water, I try to instill something in them and give them something out of my boat, because that's the future, guys, is those kids. And I've got 2 boys myself. One could take fishing, and with the days he likes it. The other one is eat up with it. So I get one out every once in a while, my oldest, and then my youngest is, you guys have seen him. He's heck on wheels, man. So anytime I can instill fishing in the youth, I try to. But yeah, it was a good day. Caught a lot of fish. Fish were moving a lot. There was a lot of moving fish. There was a lot of suspended fish. There wasn't a whole lot of fish that were on structure. Most everything I saw was just moving out in the channel and just kind of transitioning, it looked like. So water temps to start the day were 61, 62, which surprised me on Loudon because I thought it'd be a little warmer, but it wasn't as warm as I thought it was, and then it heated up. I left about 3 o'clock, I guess, and by the time I left the lake, it was 67, 68. So it's getting right, guys. There's a lot of fish up shallow, a lot of male fish that are dark. They're doing their thing. So it's definitely happening. Now, there's a cold front coming. I saw it's back down to the 30s this weekend, so we'll see what that does. It's going to knock them in the head, I'm sure. So we'll see. Let's see. All right. See some questions here. Before I start answering questions, guys, I want to mention something because it really bothered me a lot last week. There were a couple guys last week that had some funky names. I don't know if you guys caught it or not in the comments, but there were some guys that had some funky names, and they left some funkier comments. So just keep in mind, this is completely live. This is an open feed. Anybody in the world who has internet can get on it. So, if you guys see something, I'm trying my best. I actually have 2 screens now, so that's why I'm looking back and forth. After last week, it kind of freaked me out a little bit, some of the comments that I saw from those guys, and I'm trying to there's a lag between when you guys comment and when I see it. So I'm actually running another computer, my second laptop, and I'm running it just so I can see your comments real time. So I can try to, M. Scotch said trolls. That's exactly what they are. They're trolls, guys. So if you guys see something funky like that, I'm going to try my best to get it off the channel as quickly as possible. I have the ability to hide comments if they come up, so I'll do what I can there, keep that noise out. But you know me, I get on a tangent sometimes, and I don't look at the next question for 10 or 15 minutes sometimes, and I may miss it. So anyway, I appreciate everybody for joining. I look forward to tonight. It's going to be great. If this is the first time joining us and you hadn't been here before, this is you guys' time to ask me questions and do your best to stump Wired. So I'll answer anything. You can ask me any questions, boat related, crappie related, live scope related, side imaging, down imaging, baits, line, whatever you guys, watercolors, anything, whatever you guys can come up with, I'll answer anything. Moon phase, barometric pressures, whatever, throw it at me. We'll talk about it. I'm here for you guys tonight. That's what I'm here for on Wednesdays, is just to talk to you guys. And I really enjoy it because I feel like I'm getting to know everybody. I'm getting to know you guys. There's a lot of you guys that are with me every week, and I feel like we know each other. So, without further ado, let me go back up here and see. We've got some more comments here coming in, and let's see if we got any questions that I'm missing. M. Scott said he did the same thing last Saturday. Thinks it was a piece of rebar. I'm assuming you did, scratched your boat too. I took a hunk out of mine. It's a hunk. I know you guys said scratch, love taps, and all that other stuff, but I'm telling you, it's a hunk out of that boat. West System Epoxy, available at West Marine. I'm going to check that out. Thank you, Dennis. I appreciate that. Yeah, Buck Chaser. Thank you. Like I said, I just try to do what I can, especially when I see youth, man. I do all I can for them. I like to try to get them interested and keep them going. So, yeah, Travis, I probably do. You're probably right. I probably need to get some moderators at some point. I'll tell you what, guys. Let me put my. I'm going to put my email address in here. If anybody's interested in being a moderator, please feel free. Send me an email. Let me know, and we'll see if we can't get you hooked up. Moderators is probably what we're going to have to get to, guys, just to help me out so that we don't get a bunch of trolls. Ted, how's it going? What's up, Mark Williams? Travis, I'll get to your message here in just a second. Travis sent me a message, and I hadn't had a chance to read it yet, so I'll read that here in just a second. So here's a good question. John asks, how much longer do you think you can long line for, or what water temp? I'm just fixing to try it. Thanks for everything. John, you can long line through the summer. You just gotta be at the right depth. Right now, you're gonna want to fish shallow. You're gonna want to long line, probably 32nd ounce jigs, and probably try to stay in that 7 to 12 foot range. Pull them good cast behind the boat. Pull them at 0.8 to 1 mile an hour. And then as the fish start transitioning out pre-spawn or post-spawn, as they start transitioning out post-spawn, you just got to move out with them, okay? And then a summer pattern, let's talk about moving out with them. So when you start moving out with them, you go to that 12 to 16 foot, you'll want to go to 2/16. And then in the summer, if you can find them on flats early in the morning or late in the evening, they'll pull up out of the creek channel and get on flats. You may have to, if they're, 16 to 25 feet, you may have to pull 2 1/8 ounce jigs at 0.8 to 1 mile an hour so that your bait gets down there to them. But as far as long lining is concerned, you can long line from now all the way through the summer into the fall and even in the winter. You just got to make sure that when you find fish, think to yourself or look at the screen, see what depth they're in, and then think to yourself, what weight jigs do I need to put my bait at those fish? So again, for that 7 to 12 foot range, I'd go with 2/32, and then that 12 to 16 foot, I'd probably go with 16ths, and then 16 and to 25, I'd go with 2/8. So 1/8 ounce jigs. Good question though. And have fun trolling because I love long lining. That's how I cut my teeth crappie fishing. When I first started crappie fishing, I long line trolled religiously. That's all I did. And then over the years, I've just tried new technique after new technique. And, I actually, I don't know that there's a technique out there I hadn't tried yet. So, it's a great way to catch fish though. And you can cover a lot of water and locate fish too. So. Par 1338, greetings from South Arkansas. What's going on, buddy? Let's see, South Arkansas. What lake you fishing down there? Josh Sanders, how's it going? Dennis, the $1 million question. Matt, where were you fishing on Loudon Saturday? Well, Dennis, I'd tell you, but I'd have to kill you. No, I'm just kidding. So I put in Ish Creek. I put in the back of Ish Creek. I fished Ish Creek, Gallagher Creek. I left there. I went up to Turkey Creek. I fished Sinking Creek, and I fished the main river all in between. So I moved around a lot. I fished a lot of different spots. I looked at a lot of different spots. And then I probably spent 2 hours idling around within that stretch of lake, just looking. So I try to, it's kind of a rule of thumb for me. If I'm on the water 8 hours, I try to make sure that I idle and look for new stuff for 2. So that's kind of my rule. I sit in that driver's seat for 2 hours a day, just idling around watching my graph. Generally, that's when I eat my lunch and drink a Mountain Dew and just look for new structure and just kind of think to myself what all's happened for the day and where I found fish, water temps, clarities, why there's so much junk floating everywhere. It's kind of my time to just kind of reflect on the day, I guess. But that's where I fished at. All right, Ted's got a good one. What do you think these cooler temps are going to do to the bite? The shallow bite, it's going to knock them in the head, Ted. And I'm not a rhyming man, but that rhymed. That was pretty good. I'm not poetic, I promise. So, excuse me. Hang on. So the cooler temps are going to definitely affect the shallow fish more than they do the deep fish. I've said it before. I'll say it again. I like to fish staging areas during the spawn that are in deeper water. This is another reason why, because when these cold fronts come in, it doesn't affect those deeper fish as much. The surface temp is going to cool off. If it's 65 right now, after this front comes in, it's going back down to 60, 59, 60 probably. So if you're fishing out there in that 12 to 15 foot of water, kind of on the edge of the creek channel, and you know where there's fish out there, they're not going to be as affected by this cold front as much unless you get a cold front that sticks around for a week. If you get a cold front that sticks around for a week, then it's going to work its way down in the water and the water's going to cool off more so. But I would probably, if you're fishing on the bank, Ted, I would probably abandon that this weekend because it's going to get cold. And I'd go to that 12 to 15 foot depth range and I'd try to find some good brush close to spawning areas. And that's where I would bet that the fish will be because they're going to find that consistent water. That's a good question, Ted. Thank you. Hey from Dixon, David Hawley. How's it going, buddy? Let's see. Andy Perry. I guess Andy watched our Chris Sarge's live because I told everybody on Chris Sarge's live I was selling my Tarova. Um, yeah, it is. I'm getting rid of that thing. So my email is in the comments above there, Andy. If you're interested in it, shoot me an email. Actually, it's down two below you. Sorry. Um, so yeah, it's still up for grabs because I'm getting rid of that Joker. I've hit that continuous button so many times, kicked that trolling motor on. I'm done with it. I'm going to Ultrex. I mean, there's nothing wrong with my Tarova. I love it. It's a great. It's an 80-pound thrust, 24 volt. I'm not going to fight that button anymore. So, but yeah, it's up for grabs, and it's iPilot too. So, if anybody's interested, shoot me a message. Let's see. Mr. Larry's got a question here. Okay, so you plot out a trip with Navionics. Now you're out in the boat with side imaging going 60 feet both ways. What's your other unit doing? And when you see something of interest on the side imaging, next steps. Okay. Let's see, Larry. So you've already plotted out your path, so you're not worried about that. 60 feet both ways. So I run an HDS Gen 1 10-inch with my side imaging. It's a standalone unit just for my side imaging. And then I've got an HDS Gen 1 8 that I split screen down imaging and mapping. When I'm looking, I'm generally not at 60 feet. I'm generally at 50, a lot of times even 40. So the closer in you bring your foot either way, closer in you bring that, the larger your objects are going to appear. So, 60 feet is probably not that bad. I mean, I know there's a lot of guys out there that run 60 feet, so you're probably okay there if you want to run 60, but I run 50 or 40. And then, like I said, my other units got map and down imaging. I do not run standard sonar. I don't even have a standard sonar transducer on my boat. I run down imaging, side imaging religiously. And then if I see something of interest on my side imaging, first thing I do is I reach up to my side imaging. I scroll over to, I bring the cursor over to what I think is brush or stake bed or rock pile or whatever. And I drop a waypoint on it. If it's something that I go, oh yeah, no doubt, fish there, I've got to fish that, then I will go up, circle around, come back over it. I'll coast right over top of it, and I'll throw a buoy and I'll fish. If I'm just out looking and I'm not fishing, then my next step is to go find another one. I mean, it's that simple. I'll mark it and I'll go find something else. But if I want to fish it, I will circle around. I'll look at my map. I'll go directly over that waypoint, chunk a buoy on it, and then I'm up and fishing. So that's how I do it. That's probably not the best way to do it. There's probably some guys that would put the live scope down and find it with live scope and not drive over it. But for the type of fishing I like to do, you guys know how I like to fish. I like to fish those mid-range depths. It doesn't affect the fish too much when you idle over them. When I do idle over them, though, one thing I will tell you is prop wash will get the fish. Prop wash will spook fish. So when I come back to idle over it, when I get about 15 or 20 feet from it, I'll back off into neutral and I'll just let the boat coast over it. And then once I get 20 or 30 feet past it, if I want to turn around, I'll throw it back in gear and spin the boat around and then shut it off. So I do not idle over brush with it in gear unless it's 20 plus feet. If it's 20 plus feet, I will. But if it's above 20 feet, I bring it back into neutral. So here's a good question. RPB says more info on planer boards and where is best to use them. So let me grab one. Hang on just a second. Let me grab one. All right, so that's a planer board for those of you that have never seen one. I probably should have grabbed a green one because the orange is really weird looking on the screen. Hope that's not that weird looking for you guys. It's weird looking for me. Anyway, that's planer board. If you can tell, let me flip it some way. This camera's all messed up. All right. So it's got an angle cut on the front of it. So what this board does, okay, let me get this off here, RPB. So what this board does, this is the front with the angle on it. You've got the wire, okay, and then on the inside of the wire, you've got two bobber clips. You got one here on the front and one on the back. So you got front and back corner. So your line goes from this bobber clip to this bobber clip, okay. This acts as a counterbalance to keep that board straight up and down in the water, all right? And then it pulls your bait. So when your bait is being pulled behind this board with this angle on it, it actually pulls it out to the side of the boat, okay? So it gets your baits away from the boat. These are designed to be used in shallow water, like during the spawn right now. When you're trolling down a shallow bay, say 5 or 6 feet deep, and your boat's going right down the center of the bay or off to the right or whatever, wherever your boat's going, you're spooking fish. Because if there's fish that are suspended or bedding in that shallow water, you're going down through there and your boat's spooking them because your boat sits several feet, mine does, sits several feet down in the water. And when you're in that shallow water, you're spooking fish, right? What this does is it gets your bait out to the side of the boat. So when those fish are spooked and they split like this, well, they run right into your baits, okay? It's also a great way to cover more water. So I can cover 200 feet of water in one pass with these boards. Great tool to cover more water, present your bait to more fish. The more efficient you can be, I've said it before, the more efficient you can be on the water, chances are the more fish you'll catch. So it's a great way, again, to present your bait to a lot of fish. And what it also allows you to do is it also allows you to run 2 jigs, say 2 16th ounce jigs in shallow water and put a lot of line out and get your baits away from the boat. So for those that long line, the more line you let out, the deeper your baits run. In shallow water, you don't want your baits right next to the boat, but you also don't want them bumping bottom every time you turn around. So you can put 5 feet of line out behind this board and fish in 5 feet of water, and your baits are only running 3 feet deep with 2 16th ounce jigs. So I would tell you guys where you can get these. I know Slab Chaser planer boards. If you look up Slab Chaser planer boards on Facebook, he's making some that are like this. And there was another guy that was making them who I said his name last time on my video. I used them, and he's actually, I think, went out of business. So, but Slab Chaser planer boards on Facebook, you can get these, okay? But great way to catch fish in shallow water. You can catch fish in the winter fishing deep with these. Same principle. You just got to let a lot of line out behind them, 25, 30 feet of line. And then you kind of got to have somebody there with you to do that, because you have to unclip this to get the fish in. So it can get a little cantankerous, but we've actually fished tournaments that way and done really well because we've been able to present our bait to more fish, so catch more fish in deep water. But they're made for shallow water, RPB, to begin with. So that's what they were designed for. And great tool. What's up, George Hamby? How's it going? All right, Travis. Send me a message. I'll get with you, buddy. Or I'll message you on Facebook. I need to read Travis's. Let's see, Travis. Sun starboard side wind. All right, so Travis has a live scope question. So Travis got a picture of your pole, got the fishing specialties pole, got the transducer on the bottom, and your question is, when you had it on a PVC pole in starboard side, according to Garmin, I had it. Okay, so this is about the 2 clicks up, forward view, fishing specialties is straight underneath the pole. So yeah, it does get a little confusing. Okay, so let me show you guys. So that's the fishing specialties pole with the Garmin transducer under it. Okay. So Travis, to answer your question, and I've had this question asked to me about 4 times already. So I've kind of well seasoned at answering this question. The port and starboard clicks for your Garmin transducer are only if you mount it on your trolling motor. If you're not putting it on a trolling motor, forget it. Don't even worry about it. Completely forget it. If you're putting it on a pole, the way you have it mounted in that picture, Travis, is perfect. That's it. That's all you got to do. It doesn't matter if it's on the port side of the boat or the starboard side of the boat. It doesn't matter at that point. It's null and void. It's on a pole. It's hanging where it needs to be. If you move it from one side of the boat to the other, it's fine. That's leave it where it is. It's perfect. Okay. The reason that you have to click it on your trolling motor, if you have it on port or starboard side, is because if you have it on, if you have it on starboard side, you have to click it because basically the clamp, you can only put the transducer on one side of the clamp. Well, if you put it on the starboard side and you put the transducer on the clamp, it's pointing backwards. So you've got to click it so that you can see forwards because it's pointing the other direction. Does that make sense? But if you got it on the pole like you do, don't worry about it. Doesn't matter what side of the boat it's on. You're ready to rock and roll. Okay. So I hope that answers your question. And I'm sorry I didn't get back to your message earlier. I saw it come through today, I think it was, and I was working. I didn't have time to get to it. I apologize. Kip Wright from East Texas. How's it going? Let's see. So Kip Wright says it's getting summer minnow time in Texas. Not a minnow fan, but after today on Fork, I'm going to take minnows just in case. 15 the hard way today. Yeah, I'd say it's warming up down there, Kip. You guys are a little further south than us. And I used to live in Southeast Texas. I grew up several years in Southeast Texas, down around Port Arthur, Beaumont, Corpus Christi area. So I know how hot it gets down there. And my gosh, it gets hot. I can only imagine what your water temps are down there. So Joshua, you're going to hog pen. You're going to do some night fishing. Good luck to you, buddy. Let's see. Mike's got a question here. When you are fishing brush piles, do you use something to mark it in the water? Yes, absolutely. I said the other night that the most important piece of equipment for a crappie angler is a marker buoy. I use marker buoys religiously. I'll always use them, even with live scope. I will always, always, always use a marker buoy. I like to have a point of reference. I like to know where that brush pile is. And, for the sake of, yes, we have spot lock now. And yes, we have live scope now, and you can see and you can lock your boat and you can, but for those of you that have used spot lock before, if that GPS signal slips a little bit, you could be 20 feet off to the right, left, or on top of your brush pile. So, depending on what creek you're in, what the signal is. You may be all over the place, left, right, up, down. I mean, some lakes are better than others with spot lock, but I always use a marker buoy. I always throw a marker buoy because it's a visual point of reference for me. And once it's down, it's not moving. I mean, it's constant. So I do use a marker buoy. All right, so Joshua asked, I plan on grabbing some minnows, but I'll try. This is comment two to the night fishing, I believe. So I plan on grabbing some minnows, but I'll try some jigs too. What colors would you use, and how deep would you fish with the front coming in? If I was going to night fish, where'd you say you were going? Hog pen, Watts Bar? It's going to be a cold night, Joshua. I don't know about that. Take you a heater. That's my advice. It's going to be cold. It's going to be down 30s. Colors, if I was going to use jigs, I'd use something dark. I'd use blacks. Black and chartreuse would probably be where I'd start for night fishing. Black and pink would be a good color. Black and blue. Something with black in it, and then probably some Moglo stuff. Something that glowed would not be a bad idea. I'd fish. Night fishing's kind of fickle. It just all depends on how much bait you've got. I mean, if you look down at the light and the bait's sparse, then it's probably not going down in the water column very far, and the fish are kind of going to be up high if they're going to be feeding on bait. So. But if you look down and it's a tornado whirlwind of bait and you can't see 6 inches down in the water because there's so much bait, then they could be down. If you're in 20 feet of water, they could be down anywhere to the bottom. It just depends on how much bait you've got, and because the crappie are going to set up under the bait, and just you just have to play with it. I mean, that's kind of the thing with night fishing is. It takes you a minute to get the bait there. It takes you a minute to figure out where the fish are at, and then once you figured those things out, you're gold. So just keep trying different depths, in my opinion, until you find them, and then that's where I'd set everything at and just go from there. So Russell Prophet says, when should dock shooting start getting good? What lake, Russell? Because it's going to vary. There's probably going to be, Loudon probably never gets bad dock shooting. And then Watts Bar, it won't get good again until October. I probably wouldn't shoot docks on Watts Bar till October. Let's see, Tellico. Tellico, I would probably. Tellico's tough on docks. There's not many docks on Tellico that hold fish. There are some, but there's not many. I don't typically shoot docks a lot on Tellico. Every once in a while I do, but Tellico's not really a dock lake. Chickamauga, now. I would shoot docks on Chickamauga year round. If I was fishing Chickamauga, I'd buy 2 dock rods and I'd never do anything else. There's fish on docks on Chickamauga year round all the time. That's predominantly a black crappie lake. There's some white crappie in it, but not as many as the blacks. Blacks are overrunning that lake and they love docks. So if I was on Chickamauga, I'd be fishing docks every day. But hope that helps. And if you're talking about a different lake, leave me another comment and I'll answer any other lake too. So George said, I've learned you got to commit if you're going to search for structure. Being new, it is tough to not fish. I've went to 35 feet on the side imaging, I believe is what that's going to read. Let's see if there's another comment down here. I'm gonna guess that's side imaging, George. Yeah, I mean, the more you pull your side imaging in, the larger everything's gonna appear. Okay, guys. So yes, you can look out there at 100 feet, but if there's a bucket with 3 stakes in it and it's 50 feet away from you, and you're out at 100 feet, chances are you're not gonna see it because it's gonna be so small on that screen that you're just not gonna get hardly any return out of it on your screen. It's there, and the unit didn't miss it. It just is small. So the tighter you pull in the side imaging, the bigger the objects are going to appear, and the better you're going to be able to see. And yes, George, you're right. Committing to searching for new structure and not fishing is hard. It's hard to go to the lake, and a lot of us don't get. A lot of guys don't get a whole lot of time on the water. So when you go, you want to catch fish. And you know, I get that. But, you know, I tell everybody all the time, if you get 4 hours on the lake, take one and just do nothing but idle. Pick you a creek, pick you a couple creeks, couple branches, main river ledges, something. Pick you something. And just say, I'm going to fish for 3 hours, and then the last hour of the day, I'm going to sit in the seat. You just kind of got to set your mind to it and make yourself do it. But I promise you guys, if you will put the time in behind your electronics and behind your steering wheel, it will benefit you in the long run. I talk to guys at fish tournaments all the time, and, you know, you have a good tournament and they have kind of maybe a bad tournament, and they say, I just don't have as many waypoints as you do. There's a lot of truth to that. There's a lot of truth to that. I go up and fish Cherokee. I go fish a tournament on Cherokee. If I can't catch them on docks, I'm in trouble. Because I don't have a whole lot of waypoint structure on Cherokee. I got a little bit, you know, but I don't have a lot. Now, you know, you go down to you put me on Teleco, I can't fish it all in a day. I can't fish it all in a week. I've got 2,500 different waypoints on Tellico Lake. I can't fish all that. There's no way. So, you know, there's a lot of truth to having a lot of spots. Thing is, you know, once you learn what fish look like and you learn your spots, all you got to do is, you know, drive over them. If there's fish there, stop. If there's not, move on. One thing that I see people doing is they try to overanalyze a brush pile, and they say, oh, is there fish in there? Is there fish in there? Because they want fish to be there so bad. Guys, if the fish aren't loaded up around the outside edge of a brush pile, I'm not even stopping. If I can't see fish around the outside of it, I'm not losing jigs to go try to get them out. So, you know, to your point, George, committing to looking for new stuff, having a lot of waypoints on the lake is so beneficial, because if you don't have to search or fish a brush pile to try to get 2 fish out of it. You can move to the next pile. You can move to the next pile, move to the next pile until you find fish, active fish. And that's what we're all trying to do, is find active fish. So there's Josh again with the Slab Chaser planer boards. So, Robert, that's a good question. Do you ever tie your own jigs? Yes, I do. I have tied my own jigs for a couple years, and it got to the point, guys, where I just didn't have time. If I was going to tie jigs, I still have some jig tying stuff. I used calf tail. I really, really like a calf tail jig. Nothing more than the calf hair. It's a calf tail hair is what it is. It's a hair jig. Probably my best color when I was tying was chartreuse head with a white tail. And that was probably my best with chartreuse thread. Sometimes I'd use red thread, and that seemed to work just the same. But that was my hair jig of choice anyway when I was tying. But I just don't have time. I love doing it. It's so much fun. I love tying my own stuff and going out there and catching fish on it, but it's time consuming. as you guys know, I've got a lot of stuff going on, so I've lost a little bit of that. Thanks, Richard. Hey, Matt, heard rocks hit your Ranger. Well, it wasn't rocks. It was a concrete walkway that I ran into because my trolling motor kicked on. But yes, my Ranger is or does have a hole in it and several scratches. So, Richard, if you're saying that because you do fiberglass work and you want to fix it for me, I'm all for it, buddy. Just let me know. Shoot me an email. Yeah, you can. So Russell said, I've started using ski bobs instead of planer boards. Your line goes through it and you set the depth with a stopper. They work great. Yeah. Do they pull out to the side of the boat, Russell, or do they go straight back? Because I think, planer boards, the whole, I'm not familiar with the ski bob, but planer boards, the whole point of them is to get them away from the boat. So yeah, but if they're doing the same thing for you, then that's great. I've never seen a ski bob. Addicted to hunting. How's it going? From Louisiana. Hope you're doing well down there. Here's a question. Addicted to hunting. What's your go-to bait for muddy water? My go-to bait in any water is black and chartreuse. Black and chartreuse for me is a go-to if fish are finicky, if the water's dirty. It's just a confidence thing for me, I think, with black and chartreuse, but definitely muddy water, black and chartreuse. Another muddy water bait is pink, any kind of bright pink. Orange and chartreuse is a good muddy water bait, but for me, go-to is black and chartreuse. So Travis says, couldn't you use a slip cork and set a depth if long lining shallow to keep it off the bottom? Yes, Travis, you can, but you can't get the spread on your baits. I'm assuming you're talking about planer boards. You can use a slip cork and set your depth to long line, but then you're pulling baits directly behind your boat path. If you're using 12-foot rods, you're getting 12 foot off your boat path. With these, I can get 75 feet away from the boat. So picture an airplane, okay? Picture a big cargo jet, like a C-130 for you military guys. Big cargo jet, okay? If your boat is the cockpit and you're long lining, you're basically fishing inside the boat or inside the plane. You're fishing inside the plane. With these, you're basically fishing off the wings, okay? Because it'll pull it out away from the boat, and you're basically fishing off the wings. And that's kind of what you kind of look like a plane when you're going down the lake, because your boat's going down the lake and you've got a board here and a board here and a board here and a board here. So you got your board staggered. If you didn't see my planer board video, go watch my planer board video, and you'll kind of see how they're staggered and you're away from the boat. So to answer your question, Travis, yes, you can use a cork, and I actually do use a cork. My two rods that are straight out the back of the boat, I actually do use a float on those. I'll take a float and pin a float at 5 feet and pull them out straight out of the back of the boat. And you will catch a few fish out the back of the boat. But generally speaking, your planer boards will outfish your straight lines out the back 3-1, generally. So to answer your question, yes, you can do that, but you lose the benefit of getting the bait away from the boat. Let's see here. You guys know me. I lose my spot all the time. I'll find it again, I promise. Here we go. So Josh says, I've been fishing twice lately and haven't been able to find crappie and brush. Should I be trolling and looking elsewhere? What's your thoughts? Norris Lake, a.k.a. Dead Sea. Go to a different lake. I mean, hey, that's God's honest truth. Dead Sea is no joke up there. It is Norris. For those of you who don't know Norris Lake or haven't ever fished Norris Lake, I was up there last month. I went up to Norris last month. We were supposed to have a crappie tournament up there, and it got canceled due to the virus. But the lake is so clear. I was using a moon dust stump bug, which is basically clear and silver, clear with silver flake. And I literally could see the bait 10 feet below the boat. I mean, I let line out until I lost the bait and then pulled my rod up to see how much line was out. There's 10 feet of line out before I lost the bait. 10-foot visibility in that lake is ridiculous. And you've only got it's the largest, if not it's one of the largest, if not the largest lake in Tennessee. I know it's the largest lake in East Tennessee. And there's probably 5% of the lake that's less than 20 foot of water, if 5%. It's ridiculous. It's up in the mountains, straight off bluffs. It's tough. It is tough. Now, I did catch crappie up there, Josh. Be honest with you, buddy, brush is difficult. When you find brush on that lake, it's in deep water. I would probably not fish brush on Norris. If I went there tomorrow, I would be fishing docks. I found fish on docks, caught few fish on docks, so didn't get skunked, but I would probably look at docks. Now, I had to look at 150 docks to find fish, but there was fish on 5 or 6 of the 150 that I looked at. So, man, I wish I could give you more on Norris. I really do, and literally that when I went up there last month, it was the only time I've ever been on that lake. I've always heard it was the Dead Sea. I've always heard that it was tough. If I spent a little bit more time up there, I could probably figure out something else for you. But I would probably look at docks, and I'd go to the very back of every creek, and I'd start there and work my way out. I wouldn't even fool with stuff out on the channel because it's so deep. It's just ridiculous. But start at the back and work your way out. So here's a good question. Richard says, when night fishing with jigs, what is your technique? I fish with jigs at night. I don't do a lot of night fishing, guys. I wish I did more, but I've got young kids, and the problem with having young kids and night fishing is kids won't let you sleep during the day. And sleep deprivation, I did that in the military. I don't want to do that again. And no, I don't do well anymore with sleep deprivation. So anyway, but my technique would be, if I'm fishing under lights, go to the bottom and just a slow. I mean, if you know you're moving the reel, you're going too fast. But go to the bottom and just slow roll that joker back up. As a slow roll, wait for the thump. If I'm fishing dock lights, which I do the last several times I went night fishing, that's what I did. I ran the lake, which is another spooky thing. Running the lake at night is spooky. But I ran the lake and fished dock lights. So cast out under a light and just a slow, steady retrieve. I mean, as soon as that jig hits the water, start cranking it. And then if you don't get bit, throw it back in the light, let it sink to Mississippi, start reeling it, and then just kind of work your way from top to bottom if you're casting. That would be the way I would night fish with jigs. What's your thoughts on Kentucky Lake dock shooting? I know it's good, but with everything that's gone on in Kentucky Lake, I hadn't been there in a while. Don't know really what all's transpired out there with all these Asian carp and all this different stuff. So, I'm not real sure catfishing. I mean, it sets up just like our lakes over here do. There's no doubt it sets up exactly the same. If I was going to dock shoot on Kentucky Lake, I'd look for those mid-range docks. I'd look for that 10 to 25 feet. 10 to 25 feet of water, I'd look at every dock that was in that depth. Yeah, Blake, you're right. If you don't look for structure, you don't realize what you don't know. That's true. If you don't look for it, you're never going to find new spots. That's exactly right. Let's see here. There's a good one. Phil says, the lake I fish has a lot of soft, muddy bottom, but today I found a large rock pile area in 8 feet of water. Would that be a good place to try for crappie? Phil, those rock outcrops like that, crappie will hold on. And I have seen, heard, and done, seen, heard, and caught fish off rock outcrops. Generally, the rock outcrops that I've caught fish on are going to be close to a drop, something that just kind of a structure close to a creek drop or a channel drop. But if you don't have a whole lot of hard bottom, then yes, they should hold on it at some point. Crappie just don't hold on rock as much as they will brush. Crappie like wood. They like vertical structure. They will hold on some of that from time to time, but it's probably going to be one of those spots when you find them, you'll find them and you'll go back for 2 months looking for them and they won't be there. And then all of a sudden they'll be there again. And it's going to be kind of a hit or miss. I think to me, rock is just hit or miss, and it's more miss than it is hit. But yes, you can find them on rock from time to time. So especially if it's an 8 foot of water. If it's an 8 foot of water, I don't know how clear the lake is that you fish. I'm not sure. But if the lake's pretty clear and the sun can get to those rocks are going to hold heat a little more, and they're actually going to the water will be a little warmer around those rocks. So maybe in the winter they'll stack up right there because there may be a little bit warmer water. Excuse me. JT says, hello, everybody. Hello, JT. He says late. Better late than never. Welcome. All right, let's see. What particular feature are you looking for on docks? Believe it or not, I'm looking at the top of the dock just as much as I'm looking under it. I'm looking at the top of that dock, and I'm looking to see, is there rod holders on the dock? What kind of boat is in the dock? Hang on just a second, guys. Sorry. All right, so all right, sorry about that. So I'm looking at the top of the dock. I'm looking what boat's in it. I'm looking for tackle boxes, fishing rods. I'm looking for rod holders. I'm looking for any kind of fishing equipment at all. Is there a fishing boat in the dock? That's where I start. So if you start there, and you see that stuff, chances are that he's probably got some brush out, or he's a fisherman, right? So he's probably put some stuff there to attract fish to his dock. That's number one. And then number two, obviously, is it a floating dock? Is it a pole dock? What depth of water am I in? A lot of times you'll think you see a good dock and you'll run up, and then you get up to the top, you get up close to the dock and the water will just shut up and it gets real shallow. But what water depth am I in? Is it holding consistent water? And then from there, I'm looking at my side imaging and my down imaging to see if there's fish under the dock or out in front of the dock. When I'm looking at docks, I do drive pretty close to them. I mean, I'll get within 5 feet, 4 or 5 feet of the dock and idle by it. If you are driving that close to docks, make sure your rods aren't hanging out of the boat. I've yanked a rod out of the boat before. It got caught on a pole, or not a pole, a ladder, and took a bath. But yeah, I drive pretty close to them because your side imaging and your down imaging are going to be, it's a cone. Okay, for those of you that didn't know, it's not directly down. I mean, there's a cone there. So sake of not being able to do a cone, there we go. There's a cone there. So if you get close enough to the dock, you'll actually be able to pick up underneath the dock a little ways with your down imaging. So I looked like I was trying to fly away there for a minute. But you'll actually be able to see under the dock a little bit with your side imaging and down imaging. So and you can pick up fish a lot easier that way. A lot of times they'll be right in the center of the dock. If you can get close enough to it, you can pick them up on your side imaging in the black area under your boat. It makes it real easy to see them. So that's what I look for on docks. That's kind of my process for docks. And, don't ignore the docks that don't have any of that stuff on it either. I mean, I've caught a lot of fish on docks that don't have a rod holder, don't have a boat, don't have nothing. But one other thing that docks will do, they catch trash. So especially docks, with some current, out on the main river, if you find docks on the main channel that are in the right depth, a lot of times they'll catch debris as it floats down the river. So if you've got some current somewhere, chances are if you got docks with poles, now floating docks will catch stuff too, but it generally stays up on the surface. It generally doesn't go down. So if you've got some current and you get a tree that blows up against the side of a dock, that current will force that. If there's poles there, the current will force that tree to the bottom, and once it's down, it's down. So a lot of times, it'll get get underneath the dock and sit there, and you can catch some good fish out of some of that stuff that's around docks. That's a good question. What depth range of docks would you target now on Chick? Josh, if there's a dock on Chickamauga, fish it. I told people a long time ago, when I first started fishing with East Tennessee Crappie Club, I said, I'm going to Chickamauga and I'm never going to fish deeper than 6 feet. And they said, it's July. And I said, yep. And they said, oh, you're full of it. You can't catch crappie in 6 feet of water in July. I said, you want to go? They said, yeah, I do. I said, okay, come on. So I took one particular gentleman, and we never fished deeper than 6 feet in July. We were off the lake by 11 o'clock. Yeah, 11 o'clock, and had 119 fish in the boat by 11 o'clock. Never fished deeper than 6 feet. So if you're on Chickamauga and you fish Chickamauga, for all you that fish Chickamauga, don't ignore anything on Chickamauga. I mean, I'm telling you, there's fish like docks down there so much, it's ridiculous, and they'll show up and show out down there. Larry says, got two B&M sharpshooters. What should my next rod be? Well, Larry, depends. What kind of fishing do you want to do? You want to start trolling? You want to start dead sticking vertical structure or dead sticking structure? Do you vertical fishing? Do you want to? Just depends on what you want to do next. I mean, you can do just about anything with a sharpshooter. B&M Sharpshooter 6, you can do just about anything. The only thing you really can't do with it is spider rig or long line troll. I mean, you can long line troll with it. You just can't get the bait away from the boat very far. Use it in your back rods, But yeah, I mean, it just depends on what type of fishing you want to do, buddy. So George says, I'm going to hit Fort Loudon tomorrow at daybreak. Do you think they have pushed deeper already? Yes, that was side imaging in my comment earlier. Okay, so Fort Loudon, tomorrow. What is tomorrow? Thursday? It was a little cooler today. Yeah, I'd probably pull out a little bit, George. I'd probably go ahead and look in that 12 to 15 foot range because it did cool off today. It rained today. There's a cool rain. I heard some thunder today, which means it probably lightninged a little bit. Crappie don't like lightning. I'd probably pull out a little bit, probably fish at mid-range at 12 to 15 foot, find brush. If you're going to troll, if you're going to longline troll, I'd probably troll in the creek channels, that 12 to 15 foot range or 10 to 15 foot. That would be what I would do tomorrow if I was going to fish Loudon. I'd be in the creek, though. I wouldn't be on the main channel. I'd be in the creeks. Let's see. Did I miss anybody? Did I miss anybody? I don't think so. All right. So for those of you that hadn't seen it yet, I mentioned it a little bit. I'm going to give you guys a couple minutes to put some more comments up. But for those of you that have not seen it on my Facebook, if you're not Facebook friends with me, I have all of my credentials back for my guide license, and I am going to start booking guide trips. So again, I'll put my email in here for you guys to email me. There is my email, and I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be a lot of fun. I am still going to work a full-time job, but I've had a lot of people that have asked me to go out and, for a guide trip and for this, that, and the other. I'll do, if you want to go out and learn and me just teach electronics, I can do that. I can teach live scope. We can go out and just fish for the day, whatever you guys want to do. I'll be booking trips on the weekends. I'll be booking 8-hour trips and 4-hour trips. If you want all the information on that, I can send it to you. Just shoot me an email and I'll shoot you all the info. Right now I'm booking for Tellico. Tellico is probably the best summer lake. I've told people that for years. It's one of the best summer lakes in East Tennessee. And it's one of the closer lakes to me. So I'll be booking for Tellico right now. Richard Grace is looking forward to getting out on Douglas. Me too, Richard. I'm looking forward to it as well. Douglas is a great lake. So anyway, if you want to book anything with me, shoot me an email. I'd be more than happy to talk to you, and we'll get something set up. Okay. Let's see. I think I see a question from Cole up here. Just got Panoptix Live Scope 2 weeks ago, and I've been pretty successful so far. Just wanted to ask if you have any tips on settings that I might have overlooked. So yeah, Cole. I actually did a video, Live Scope Settings 101. Check that video out because it will help you. I guess if I had tips, my first tip would be Live Scope isn't set it and forget it. You have to constantly change your live scope settings. So if you move spots, if you go from one side of the creek to the other, I mean, if you move from a dock to a new dock or a brush pile to a new brush pile, you have to change the settings on your live scope. Your depth, I would run your depth always 2 foot deeper than the water you're in. So if you're in 16 foot of water, I would set my depth at 18 feet. And then your forward range, again, it's just like side imaging, Cole. The closer in you bring the forward range, the larger the picture is going to be. So the further in you bring it, the larger your brush pile, the larger your dock, the larger your fish. Everything's going to appear larger on your screen. So your jig falling, everything is going to look bigger the closer in you get it. So get that forward range in as close as you can, get that depth set right, and then it's just a matter of setting your gain. Your gain is going to, it's basically, think of it as power. It's how much power that live scope's putting in the water is basically what it is. So the higher your gain, the more power you're going to get, and the more return you're going to get, the brighter everything's going to be. More power is brighter. It's not necessarily better. It's just brighter. So play with your gain up and down. You don't want your screen to be just washed out orange if you're still using orange, but you want to be able to see the structure, see the fish, see your bait, but you don't want it to just be washed out from so much gain. Okay, so you really got to play with that, and it'll take a little bit to learn where it needs to be at, but you'll get that. It'll come. Don't get frustrated with it. I'll say that. But yeah, definitely watch that video, and it'll help you out, because I show my live scope. I'm on a brush pile, and I show you how that gain changes, the way the brush pile looks and everything. I show you the way the forward range changes and all that. So it's a really, really good video, I think, and I think it'll help you. So check that out. George, I will. When did you send me a text? Just now? No. Yeah, I got it. I'll shoot it to you. I'll shoot it to you, George. Thank you. Robert says, you've answered this at least 1,000 times, but what line do you use? I don't mind to answer it 1,001. Hang on just a second. I'll grab it, Robert. So I'm a mono man. I am experimenting with braid, and I am experimenting with vertical fishing. With live scope and so on and so forth. But I've been a mono man for many, many, many years. That's what I've been fishing. It's vicious panfish. It's high vis in 4-pound test. They have it in 6-pound if you like 6-pound. And I think they have it in 8. Sorry, I got the hiccups, guys. Jeez, ooey. But that's what I use, vicious panfish. That roll is 3,000 yards, and it's $7.50, $8 for 3,000 yards. So there is some line twist, a little bit of memory, but not bad. I mean, all mono is going to have memory. If anybody tells you zero memory with mono, I'd like to see it, because once you put it on a reel and get it wet and put it up and it dries, it's gonna have memory. It's mono. I've used Vicious, I've used Mr. Crappie, I've used Slime Line, I've used just about all of them, and anything high vis just about, and they all have some type of memory in them. So anyway, that's what performs best for me. I feel like it comes off the reel good, and I'm not sponsored by them or anything like that. It's just what I use. So. Thanks, Kurt. Kurt says, good job. Love the channel. Thank you, Kurt. I'm enjoying doing it for you guys. I try my best to share what I can with you guys, and I hope that it helps. I mean, that's our goal, or my goal. is to help you guys catch more fish. So if you guys are catching fish, and I've had so many people that have messaged me, let me go back. Thank you to all the people that have messaged me and told me that they've been able to catch fish after watching some of my videos in the channel, and just, you know, being a part of the channel and doing what you guys do is what's so special to me, because, you know, hearing those stories about you guys going out and catching fish and is what really keeps me going. It really does. And, you know, it's work, guys. I mean, it's work going out and filming videos, editing videos, putting videos out for you guys, the lives and everything. It's work, and I love it. And I love just getting that response from you guys and the feedback, and you guys being able to tell me you went and caught fish. It's just, it's so uplifting to me, and I appreciate each and every message that I get. Thank y'all very much for it. It's what keeps me driving. So thank y'all very much. And thank you for watching, and thank you for watching the videos and following the channel. And thank you, Kurt. I appreciate the comment. Let's see. George, let me say goodbye to George. George, I guess George is leaving. He's saying have a good night. Have a good night, George. I appreciate it. I will text you back, buddy. I'll send you all the information for the trips, and I'll talk to you soon. Thank you, George. I appreciate you, buddy. All right, Grant says, what size reel do you like to use? So reels, I use a Pflueger Tryon, a size 25. Is the reel that I prefer. I like the Pflueger President as well. The Tryon is a little cheaper as far as price point. And for you guys that have followed the channel, you know I'm cheap. I like cheap. I don't want to break the bank, but the Pflueger Tryon is a really good reel. It's high quality reel, and it's at a pretty good price point. So I think you can find them online for about 25, 30 bucks. I think they're $30. You can find them on sale sometimes for 25, but I think they're $30. And it's a size 25 is the size that I like. No problem, Ashley. Thank you, buddy. I appreciate it. So Keith says, how do you think the Vicious line compares to Trilene XL? Hang on, I'll be right back with you, Keith. Robert, thank you for the super chat. I appreciate that. Start for a new trolling motor. Thank you, Robert. I appreciate it, buddy. Hey, super chats, that's something that I didn't even know about these, to be honest with you guys. Another YouTuber told me about them, and let me just tell you guys right now, I don't know if you guys saw it on my video this week, but there was a guy, and Robert, I'm not taking away anything from your super chat. Thank you, buddy, for that very much. But there was a guy that asked me on my video this week. He said, I'm thinking about starting a YouTube channel. How much money do you make? And I just kind of went back to him and I said, hey, if you're in it for the money, you're in it for the wrong reason, because I spend 3 to 1 what YouTube gives me back. 3 to 1, no doubt. I spend way more money on fishing than I ever get from YouTube, period. But the super chat thing is so awesome. It's a chance for you guys to put back into the channel. I promise you that everything that comes through a super chat on my lives will go right back into crappie fishing. That's a promise. It'll put gas in the boat. It'll put gas in the truck to get me to the lake to do more videos for you guys. So, and Robert wants me to put this towards a new trolling motor, so that's where it'll go. I appreciate it, Robert, very much. Thank you, buddy. You're awesome. So thank you for that. All right, let's see, Keith. So how do you think the Vicious line compares to Trilene XL? Well, Trilene XL, Keith, to my knowledge, doesn't have high vis. So for that reason, I would say Vicious is over top of Trilene XL. If they do have high vis and I don't know it, then I would still say that the Vicious line to Trilene for the price point, I would go with the Vicious again because, I'm 3,000 yards. Yeah, that's 9,000 feet for $750. I don't think you can get that with Trilene. So for that reason, I prefer the Vicious. I'm cheap, so. But Trilene XL is a good line. I will say that. I used Trilene for years. I used Stren for years. I even used that Stren Crappie Gold for a little bit, and it's the same thing though. You only get 200 yards on a spool, and it's $7, $8, $9 for 200 yards. So I think it's actually $10. I think it's like $10 or $12 for that Crappie Gold. It was expensive. So for that simple purpose, I can respool my rods every time I go to the lake for 6 months with this before I even have to think about buying another spool. And I don't respool them every time I go to the lake. Let me make that clear. But I could. And yeah, it's for the simple fact of money. I prefer the Vicious. I tried it. I use it now because of a tip you gave. You use what now, William? The fishing line. Drop me another comment, William. I'm interested to know what are you using now? Yeah. I know you can decide on dates for our club tournaments yet, but have you decided which lakes we will fish this fall? So for those that don't know, I'm president of East Tennessee Crappie Club. I run East Tennessee Crappie Club. I started the club 7 years ago, and I've been president ever since. So we fish crappie tournaments September through May. We fish one tournament a month, and then we do during the off season, we do seminars and we do training days on the water training. We do different stuff to help guys just like yourself, just like I've always said, catch more fish. So Rusty is asking about our tournaments, and our tournaments are the third Saturday of every month. They'll remain there, Rusty. They'll stay third Saturday. By the way, I've got your rod, so hit me up after the live because I've got your rod here, your Russ Bailey rod. We need to get together so you can get it. But yes, so third Saturday of every month, September through May. And then as far as lakes are concerned, I'm going to do a live and we'll blind draw those. Okay. So we'll do a blind draw, and the lakes will be set by drawing out of a hat. We are not going to set the lakes. We're going to draw them. Oh, look, I got an old buddy here. Mr. Charles Hale. What's going on, buddy? I'm not going to read that because it's self-incriminating. Thank you, Charlie. I really appreciate that. It's an honor to know you. It's an honor to be a friend of yours, and I appreciate it very much. So thank you for the comments. Thank you for everything that you've done for me. You know what that is, and I appreciate you very much, sir. And I called you earlier, by the way, to say hello. Maybe that's why you're here tonight. I called you earlier just to shoot the breeze with you. But no, thank you very much, Charlie. All right, let me go forward here. I see another super chat. Cole Robertson. Thank you, Cole. I appreciate that very much. Your super sticker is hilarious. Victory. What is that, a hippo? Is that a hippopotamus or what is that thing? That's great, man. Thank you, Cole. I appreciate the super chat very much. And I love your sticker, whatever it is. I don't even know. I don't know if you guys can see that sticker or not. It didn't show up on the screen, but that's really great. Let's see. Sorry, I lost my place again, guys. Jumping around. All right. Here's a good question. Matthew says, hey, Matt. Hey, nice name, by the way. Let's just start there. Let's just end there. Nice name. I like it. It's good. Hey, Matt, I see a lot of folks using jigs with a split shot up above it when jigging brush. What does this help with? So it helps get your bait to the brush faster, Matthew. And also, if you have live scope, it gives you 2 points of visibility. So you've got a split shot and you've got a jig. So on live scope, when the split shot's above the jig, let's say you need your jig to be a foot down in the brush, you can still see your split shot, right? Or, when it's falling down, it's a lot easier to pick up 2 objects falling in sync than it is to pick up one 32nd ounce jig head falling. So, from what I understand, that's the purpose of it. There's also guys that are using I'm going to get it here in a minute. Like a 1/2 ounce egg sinker. Geez, I'm going to come up with a name in a minute, I promise. I'm not drinking. So there's also guys that are using a 1/2 ounce egg sinker, and it's for the same purpose. It's to have 2 points where they can see they're falling on the live scope together, or to get the jig down quicker to the brush pile. Kevin Stone, live scope battery standalone or other electronics added on? What's a good size for standalone? So Kevin, I should have grabbed my battery out of the boat and I didn't. But if you go to www.ampedoutdoors.com and look at their 30 amp hour lithium battery, it is all you need, buddy. And I would run it standalone. I would hook the black box. I would power your black box, and I would power your whatever unit you have, 93 or 1022 or 1222, whatever it is you're running. Run your unit and your black box off the 30 amp hour Amped Outdoors battery, and you will never have problems out of it. I promise you. Well, as long as the battery is in good shape and you treat it right and all that good stuff, right? So, but it is a great battery. It will run a 1222. Travis called, I believe it's Travis I talked to earlier this week, who said somebody told him it wouldn't run a 1222. It will run a 1222 because I know about 10 different guys, including myself, that are running their live scope in 1222 off of a lithium 30 amp hour from Amped Outdoors, and it'll run it for 3 days. So without charging it. So it 3 8-hour trips. So I would check them out. They're great batteries. They're a couple $100 for battery and charger. Buy the charger for the battery, and it'll do you fine as long as you need it to. And they've got a warranty with them too. So if you get a battery that somebody built on a Tuesday or a Wednesday on hump day and it doesn't act right, they'll replace it. So I would check them out. Here's a good question. So M. Scotch says, what's the best way to spool without getting line twist? I'll tell you. Let me grab another spool of line. Hang on just a second. All right, this is the Bonehead braid that I've been using. It's the B Power braid. It's 12 pounds, high vis yellow. Everything I do is high vis yellow. But if you look, okay, and I'm going to try to do this where you guys can see it. All right, so you see the line. Let me hide this comment, M. Scotch. All right, so sorry, this camera's backwards, but you see which way this line is coming off this spool, right? It's coming off counterclockwise, okay? So if you lay this spool on the ground, okay, the line's coming off counterclockwise. If you lay it just like this, face up, it's coming off counterclockwise, okay? If you take your rod and your reel and you turn your rod upside down and point the tip of your rod, okay, at the line and spin your reel, watch which way your reel's spinning when it's upside down. If it's spinning counterclockwise, you're good. If your reel's spinning clockwise, okay, you need to flip this over. You want whichever way your reel's spinning when you point your rod at the spool, you want the line coming off the same direction. Okay, so lay it on the ground counterclockwise. Most reels are spinning counterclockwise, spinning reels, okay, are spinning counterclockwise. You want counterclockwise coming off the spool. That will help with line twist. But like I said earlier, line twist is going to happen with mono. It's just going to happen. You can do different things. Everybody knows Richard Jean. Richard put a video out a while back about soaking your line in water. I'm not going to say it doesn't work, but as a fisherman like I am, I tried it, and every time I set the hook on a fish, my line broke. So the integrity of the line was compromised. I know that. No, I mean, mono, you're going to get line twist. It's just inevitable. Good fresh line on your reels. And one thing that you can do if you're running down in between spots or in between docks or something, you can throw that line out behind the boat and kind of troll it, and it kind of stretches that line, get some stretch in that line, and it'll straighten it out a little bit in between spots. But for the most part, you're going to end up with some amount of line twist. It's just kind of inevitable with mono. So, and some people say, run your spool under hot water, and there's all kinds of different things that people tell you can do, and they help, but it's going to happen. So at some point. Travis says, our crappie are too big to use that baby mono you use. Got to have 20-pound braid. What do y'all, do they have teeth, Travis? Where are you fishing at? Gulf of Mexico? There ain't no crappie in Gulf of Mexico, man. Those are red snapper. Yeah, that's pretty good. Travis is, best of my recollection, Travis, you're down Texas, right? Texas or Arkansas or someplace out that way. That's there's some big fish out there, that's for sure. But I assure you, Travis, I could come down there and catch your crappie on 4-pound test. I assure you, buddy, I could do it. Now, am I going to be able to, rip their nostril out of their face and, pull their eyeball out through the socket and sling them 30 feet up in the air with a 12-foot rod like you guys do, catch them on the way down? No. I'm not going to be able to do that. But, hey, it to each their own, I guess, right? So Grant Bailey says, how often do you re-spool your reels? Generally once a month, Grant. I generally, as you guys know, I'm a tournament angler and I tournament fish, and I fish generally tournament. I generally have 1 or 2 tournaments a month. And I typically re-spool before every tournament. So I'm generally respooling rods once or twice a month. Major asked the same question. How often do you respool in a season? So in a season, I'm respooling rods, and I'm generally respooling 4 or 5, maybe 6 rods at a time. Yeah, every month. How do I join the club? So if you'd like to join East Tennessee Crappie Club, it's easy. It is very easy. We have a membership form, your name and address, and there's a couple questions on there. What do you want to learn? What do you hope to get from the club? Some questions that we like to know, kind of helps us drive a direction. And then it's $35 a year for membership. The club does have a members only page on Facebook. It's just for the members. You don't get accepted to the page. It's a private page, and you don't get accepted unless you're a member. Members talk on there freely, and you share a lot of good information, laughs, and we've got a really great group of people. And like I said, $35 a year, you can be a member. And then we fish tournaments once a month. And the tournaments are $35 a boat, 2 anglers per boat. So it's a great club, great to be a part of. And I've learned just so much. Myself have learned a ton over 7 years crappie fishing. So if you're trying to learn and you want to you want to take that step, I mean, it's not a very hard step to take. I know some people think it's a big step. It's not a big step. It's really not. It's there's so many great people that just welcome you with open arms. They'll teach you. They'll help you. They'll answer questions. You're introduced to just a huge onslaught of information with so many different people. So it's really, really, really great. A lot of great people, and it's really fun. So Larry, to answer your question, you want to join the club? Anybody wants to join the club, hit me up, email me, hit me up on Facebook, Matt Zenas. Go to the club page, East TN Crappie Club, message the club. When you message the club, it's coming to me. And we'll get you all the information, get you a membership. We can email everything over. You can email it back. We have a PayPal for the club. You can pay that way, or you can send a check, whatever you prefer to do, or you can pay at an event, whatever you want to do. We make it easy for you guys. So that's how you join. RPB, thank you. Thank you for the super chat. I appreciate that. RPB, you guys are helping with the trolling motor fund tonight. I appreciate that very much. No, RPB, thank you very much. It's a blessing, and thank you. I don't take it lightly. Thank you very much for that, and God bless you, sir. Thank you. Let's see, where are we at? William says your line, you talked. Oh, okay. This is going back to William's original comment. Okay. He was talking about the line. You talked how getting hung up and how not to bother the fish. That's the truth. That's the truth, William. And I talked about experimenting with this braid, and I do have an 11-foot rod that is spooled with this bonehead braid. But I'll tell you what, the last 24 to 30 inches, there's a swivel, and I assure you, there's 30 inches of this after that swivel. I promise it. There's a 1/2 ounce egg sinker before that swivel, but there is 30 inches of this after it, because when I get hung in a brush pile, I don't want to pull the brush pile back up. And this right here will pull the brush pile off the bottom of the lake. I promise you it will. I've done it. I pulled up a bucket with probably 30 pounds of concrete in it with this right here. Because once it's in the water, it's almost weightless. I mean, once that stuff's in the water, it doesn't weigh much at all. So I don't know if you guys ever dropped brush, but if you've dropped brush, picking it up off the side of the boat stinks. Dropping it over the side of the boat and helping it down, you can do it with one finger. You can just, woo. You can just lower that thing down with one finger. It don't drop fast. I mean, once that stuff's in the water. So yeah, I prefer 4-pound test because when I get hung in brush, I can break it off and not affect the fish. Cole said his sticker was the cheesiest one he could find. That's pretty good, buddy. So Travis says the amped batteries won't be in. They're out of stock until late May, early June. Well, that stinks. Try go to Google and go to Summit Fishing. Go to Summit Fish. I think it's Summit Outdoors, maybe. It's Summit Outdoors or Summit Fishing Products, one of the two. I can't remember exactly which one it is right now off the top of my head, but Summit Outdoors, I think. Try that. They're a dealer for Amped Outdoors, and sometimes they'll have the 30 amp hour battery. You can pick it up from them, same price. So, Call me Camo too. He says, just got on. Did you get a video on a loop knot for braid? No, I did not. I did not. Call me Camo. But I tell you what, we can play with it right here. I got it right here. You want to try one? Loop knot with braid. Let me get rid of this. Loop knot with braid. I said the other night, you can't tie a loop knot with braid. Well, we're going to try it. So, planer board, that big old jig right there. So, go through the jig head, through the eye of the jig head. I get about 12 inches of line on the other side of the jig head, okay? So I got about 12 inches right there off my main line. So the way I tie a loop knot, 2 fingers, okay? These two, I put 2 fingers, and it's kind of hard with this big old planer board. I don't think I have a jig right here. All right, so 2 fingers, I wrap once. I'm going to have to find a jig because I can't go back through there with this. Hang on. Hang on. Let me grab a jig. All right, sorry. If anybody wonders what jig head I use, that's the double cross jig head from Crappie Magnet. That's all I use. 32nd, 16th ounce jig heads from Crappie Magnet, double cross. That's it. Everybody knows I like chartreuse jig head. All right, let's try this again. So, through the jig head, got 12 inches, okay? 2 fingers. I wrap once, twice, okay? Pinch it. Take that jig head right through the line. Right like that. Okay. Got it pinched right above the jig head. All right. And then grab your tag end and your main line and just start easing it up. Okay. Just ease it up. You can feel it in your fingers. Ease it up. Wet it. How about that? Call me Camo. Loop knot. All right. You can tie a loop knot with braid. I stand corrected. All right. Now, what you can't do is bite this. Yeah, I promise. I promise you couldn't tie a loop knot, but I definitely promise you don't want to try to bite that braid. So we're going to cut it. Cut it right off. Mm-hmm. There we go. Loop knot. Let's see. Loop knot with braid. You can tie it. Now, one thing about it, if that loop gets crossed, if you don't keep your fingers pinched and that loop gets a little crossed, it will bind up and it will not work. But you've got to make sure you keep your fingers pinched on there so that those loops don't cross each other, and it'll work. It'll pull. You can tie a loop knot with it, but there it is. Let's see if I get it closer. Doink. So that's a loop knot. Okay. Oklahoma, that's where you're at, Travis. Oklahoma. Yeah, Oklahoma's where the big fish roam, he says. That's true. Mike, have a good one. We'll see you later, buddy. Thanks for joining us. So Catfish Tennessee says, how many people are currently in Tennessee, in East Tennessee Crappie Club? Right now, we currently have over 100 active members, paid active members. We're at the end of our season this year, so everybody will have to renew their memberships in August. But we're at the end of our season. We've got over 100 active members. Night, John, if you're still on. Call Me Camo says he sent a video to my email. He'll send it again. On how to tie that loop knot. You can do it. It's cantankerous a little bit, but you can do it for sure. Yep, no doubt. Major, you're right. He gets the free pack of bonehead baits for the loop knot. There ain't no doubt. I'll email you back. I'll get your address. I'll send you some baits. I said last week, if somebody can send me a video, I'll send them some baits. All right, guys. I don't see any more comments. We're going to call it a night. We've been on for almost 2 hours. I appreciate you guys for watching. I appreciate you guys for joining me. Thank y'all very much. Thank y'all for the super chats, everybody who super chatted. I appreciate that very much. I hope everybody has a great rest of their week. I hope you guys have a great weekend on the water. I probably will be back on Loudon this weekend. Probably try to fish some docks and marinas. There's some questions on docks tonight, so I may try for some docks or marinas or something like that. But we'll be back out there this weekend. We'll be fighting the Vol Army, if you will, all those big cruisers and bayliners that are going up and down that lake. But I don't fish that lake as much as I should, and I'm probably going to start fishing it a little bit just to try to find some new spots, some new stuff. So anyway, I appreciate you guys very much. Again, thank you for watching. I hope everybody has a good night. And God bless, guys. We'll see you.